I would want you to specifically respond to the allegation that you have not complied with sections 119 of the Public Finance Management Act and Regulation 82 1B of the PFM County Government's regulations. You have not responded to that at all.
You will note from this response that majority of these accounts were opened health centers and dispensary accounts, and they are basically opened for the purpose of petty cash operations and administration expenses for specifically a donor called Danita. And the conditionalities of that donor was that we were supposed to open this account, and the PMF Act is very clear that the CC Finance authorizes the opening of accounts in respective commercial banks.
Are you really responding to what I've asked? Have you done this in accordance with the sections of the PFM Act that I have pointed out?
Yeah, I can't quote specifically which section of the law.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes.
You ought to actually. You are the chief.
No.
I mean, you are the
CC in charge of finance.
CC in charge of
finance.
Absolutely. So you should be the person with the best knowledge on how PFMA should be implemented. So you need to be responding to that, because the accusation is that you've opened them not in accordance with the sections that I've guided. Did you look at the sections when you were written to?
Yeah, we looked at those sections, Chair, and I was properly guided that we operated within the law. That the commercial banks, that the accounts were opened within the law. There was nothing illegal in opening those accounts.
I would like to ask our legal team, could you please read the PFM Act, the section that the Vice Chair has talked about?
Yes, I'll do that in a moment.
Thank you.
119.1 of PFM 2012 provides that the county treasury is responsible for authorizing the opening, operating, and closing of bank accounts for the county government and its entities, except as otherwise provided by legislation. Regulation 82 1B of PFM Regulations 2015 provides that all county government bank accounts shall be opened at the Central Bank of Kenya, except for impressed bank accounts for petty cash. 82.4 that except with the prior authority of the county treasury, no accounting officer may open a bank account for the deposit, custody, or withdrawal of public money or other money for which he or she is responsible in his or her official capacity, or for the transaction of official banking business. Regulation 82.5 that the authority of the county treasury shall be conveyed in writing to the responsible accounting officer with a copy to the controller of budget and the auditor general. 82.6 county treasury may prescribe the banking rules and the maximum balance which may be held in any official county treasury single account, sub-account, or other bank accounts, and if at any time this balance seems likely to be exceeded, the officer operating the accounts shall consult county treasury on action to be taken.
Thank you. The reason is because, and I have to be quite sincere with this committee, is because I sit in the budget committee also. And Madam Vice Chair, the exposure we are having is that actually many of these accounts which have been open were open to handle money that donor funds, where the donor funds were supposed to go through. Now the question then, me as a legislator in this committee, the question I ask is, why are we having the contradiction between where the law says that the accounts have to be open in central bank, and yet the reality is what they are working on is that the donor agencies and all the other statutory payments which are being made through borrowing or granting, one of the conditions they give is that the county government has to open a commercial bank. That's, I think, the contradiction in this law. What do we do to cure this? Because the feeling I'm having is that it's indeed abnormal to have a county open 350 accounts. I mean, it is the story that makes headlines. But the reality is that when I have looked at each and every single document, and I wanted this question to go to the governor, I have seen all the names, the letters, the recommendations, who's going to sign for these accounts. And on each of your letter, you say, and I'm not defending you, sir, I'm just analyzing this. On each of your letters, you say, this money is from Danida, and Danida tells us we open a commercial account. You have another one here which is talking about you open a bank account, which is, this is supposed to be money from...
Honorable Chair, my senior has documents that I'm only peeping at. Also, I'll be informed.
Can somebody give my...
Can somebody provide Senator Wakoli with the documentation?
So, of course, there is here for the account for car loans, which I understand because then you have to pay your MCAs. The question I was asking, Governor, and this is
These are the ones.
what makes a lot of us worry, because we fear that this exercise can be abused.
Come and open for us.
Were all these bank accounts that you opened a requirement before you receive donor funds?
Thank you.
Or even after you received the donor funds, did they tell you open these accounts? Yeah, I think that is such an important issue that we need to look at.
Thank you very much. Say this. The truth of the matter is that I think almost all dispensaries in this country are supported with Danida funds for small activities that are run in those dispensaries. Payment of salaries for people like watchmen or casuals who are doing cleaning and things like that. It's unfortunate that these funds must be disbursed directly to the accounts of those dispensaries. And those dispensaries are operated by committees that are elected from the locality. Indeed, none of the officials of the county operate those accounts, but they get authorized by the sub-county health committees. What the finance department have done is that they insist that every time that disbursements are made, there must be an expenditure report that comes back to our finance department. I have a letter from the Council of Governors, for example, that gives direction on disbursement of Danida primary healthcare funds to support program financial year 2023-2024 funds. In this letter, they are simply saying counties are required to urgently transfer the funds from County Revenue Fund account to the County Danida PHC Special Purpose account. Now that's a special purpose account that is opened by the county to receive Danida funds. And once that account receives the Danida funds, it transfers it immediately to all dispensaries in the county. And we may look like we have so many accounts, but we have about 273 accounts or 273 dispensaries distributed all over the county. So yes, I want to say this, that the county government has no interest in opening accounts other than for specific purposes. And the ones that we have in this, for that matter, are specifically for revenue collection, which is just receiving money for revenue. And then for level 4 hospitals, which operate under FIF, where they receive money for user fees and receive money from the county for expenditure, whatever budget is meant to be given to those accounts. The other ones is for grant accounts for conditional grants. Conditional grants generally require that you open special accounts so that they can be able to monitor. The other thing that I didn't tell you about the Danida accounts, that they have got their own accountants who come and check on the use of those funds. They are closely monitored by the donor. And if you don't, then they will not renew for the next financial year. And I would like to even inform this committee that as we speak now, I think about how many counties have been authorized?
36.
36 counties. Not all the 47 counties have been allowed to continue receiving Danida funds because they did not comply with the requirements that they do require. Every grant or conditional grant which comes to the county requires us to open a specific account so that they can be able to audit directly the donors. On the issue of accounts for municipal councils, we collect the revenue from the municipalities under the county revenue accounts. And when we do the budget, at the beginning of the financial year, we disburse funds to the municipalities so that they can use. We have not reached the situation where the municipalities are receivers of revenue and expenders of revenue. So all our accounts, we can explain the purpose for which they were opened. Thank you.
Madam Chair, maybe my last follow-up question. Did you, Governor?
Yes, sir.
Did you explain that to the AOG?
Honorable Senator, I have not had any opportunity to be asked any question regarding the accounts by the Controller of Budget, but I would have been happy to speak to them.
I meant the Auditor General, because these queries of how many accounts that county governments are opening, depending on which sector and whatever it is, it's an issue that the Auditor General has raised on from various counties. So for me, and I said this is purely because I happen to be in between two different committees, that in the budget committee and in the finance committee, the issues that have been raised about these checks is that we know that some of the donors are actually asking you to open these accounts deliberately, because that's one of the conditionalities. So what baffles me and what is confusing us, why is the Auditor General still mentioning this as an audit query?
Chair, if I may ask,
you are with me?
Yes.
You get?
Yeah, I get.
Thank you.
We initially, the reason why the auditor has an issue is because of section 82. Yes, but now we've been in discussion with them. So the issue, what they've told us is, let us be preparing expenditure returns, so that if they can only question why we are opening such number of accounts. But as the governor has mentioned, there is a contradiction, because now we have the option: do we receive the funds or we follow the law? One thing that it's become difficult also for us is, we are required to open all the bank accounts from Central Bank, and the National Treasury, who is supposed to guide us, are the one who are giving us authority again, even the ones, the grants or donor funds, to open with commercial banks, and they are the one who are signing the agreements with the donors. So we've been giving out expenditure returns from each and every facility, regardless of the number, together with also the other spending units like sub-counties, which we give AIs. So at the end of the financial year, we compile for all the quarters, and we prepare an expenditure returns, which the auditor is able to trace from disbursement up to the payment level. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Governor, I've heard you. First of all, on my earlier question, on you submitting their reports, when you send us a soft copy on Friday, and we are meeting on Monday morning, clearly it's like you didn't want us to go through your report. So next time, kindly be neater. Just make me understand. Danida funds are not only given to Baringo, they are given to very many other counties. I've sampled counties which surround you and the accounts they are operating. And I would want you to tell me whether they receive those funds or what is unique in them. Elgeyo Marakwet operates 9 accounts, Kericho 52, Laikipia 12, Nakuru, which is far much bigger, 12, and Nandi 7. Do they receive these Danida funds or they don't? What is unique with Baringo?
I cannot speak for the other counties. I would be doing a lot of disservice if I explain why they are able to open 12 accounts or 52 accounts like Kericho. I think, to be honest, Kericho is a smaller county than us. Maybe the number of dispensers that they have could be less, but I am not competent enough to explain. But let me ask my CC Health to say.
All counties are beneficiaries of Danida funds. And I don't know, and there is a letter from Danida which states very clearly that money from county revenue fund should be transferred to special purpose account within 15 days. And then within another 10 days, it should hit the accounts of the facilities. And I don't know, fortunately enough, Baringo County has among the highest number of health facilities in this country. They're even more than the ones in Nakuru.
I've heard you work in Nakuru and they are operating 12. Then maybe you are in a position where you can help this committee. What was happening in Nakuru and what is happening in Baringo? Because for sure Nakuru is bigger than Baringo. And you cannot tell me that Baringo has more facilities than Nakuru.
What I know, the facilities usually receive their funds through an AIE. And allocation, when the Nario funds comes, it's allocated according to the workload of each facility. So they allocate every facility a certain amount of money, and an AIE is issued to every facility, even in Nakuru, for purposes of for spending it on operation and maintenance. I know that. Every facility receives an
Telling me the Auditor General reports are not correct when they tell us that Nakuru operates only 12 accounts. Maybe the Auditor General did not capture all the accounts.
Accounts in order to find out how they are operating. Now, I think, is it your chief or CC yourself? Yes.
Direct accounting. Accounting service.
Yes. You raise an issue. Do we comply with the law or do we receive the money? You actually are supposed to do both. We are supposed to do what we are doing within the law. And we have called you a Senate because a red flag has been raised on the issue of compliance with the law. So it's not that we don't believe you, Governor. I was at CIC when Danida first. We are the first ones to tell Danida you must give county monies to counties and not to the national government. And Danida was the first development partner to then comply. But that compliance was made conditional. upon the funds being able to reach the facilities in the manner that you're suggesting. Now, what we need to ask ourselves, if we are violating Section 82, or we are violating a particular regulation, what is the best way for us to operate within the law? Or if operating within the law is difficult, what does it mean? What would it mean in terms of you guiding us as Senate to be able to address the hitch within the law so that operations are aligned with the law? But we cannot say it is one or the other. We must be a country, and I think where we have reached, public accountability must happen. And it means if there is a law in place, we are expected to comply with that law. So I think even as we are speaking, what we need to do is to find out, to say, can we align this particular operation within this law? Or can we amend this law to adjust the current operations which are okay within the law? I think those are some of the way forwards that we must have. Senator Wakoli.
Think of my friend about the money or the law. This is Kenya, Honorable Chair, where money is given precedence than the law. But if that is the case, does it mean there is any other law you use or abide by when utilizing the law at that health facility? Because what is happening, Honorable Chair, in those health centers, and I hope it's not true, that there are watchmen, cleaners, caretakers that have not been paid for several months. That is my first question. Think about it. Number two, the county treasury, I don't know if the county treasury conveyed in writing the authority to open and operate these accounts to the controller of budget and the auditor general in line with the regulation 82 cap 5. So that they understand from which angle you honorable members are operating from. Thank you, Chair.
When the Treasury asks you to open bank accounts, do they specifically state whether these bank accounts are going to be with commercial bank accounts or whether this account can actually be in the central bank account? Yes. Is there... Yes, you could.
Chair, it's when they instruct us to open the account, it could either be in central bank or with commercial banks. But it could be either.
You understand why I'm asking this question, and that is, if you are supposed to open a bank account, and this is, Governor, this is the challenge we're having. And Governor, me, I understand because you were not the governor then. So I don't even know why you're stressed. Don't be stressed. There are people who will come here to tell us, don't be stressed. No, but it's on the second term that this came up. And the question I'm asking is, the relevance of these bank accounts being opened at the central bank is because they are directly connected to the IFMIS system.
Honorable Chair, I want to correct my friend, Honorable Nyonka.
Yes.
Proceed.
Looking at the dates of opening of some of these facilities, they are historical.
What year is that?
2011,
Okay.
2014, 2012. So it is not that it should not be stressed, it should be concerned.
Okay, so if you go to...
And also, the office exists in perpetuity, so you must take the stress for those
who are not there. So I'm asking, this money is supposed to be taken, the Treasury is meant to give instructions where you're supposed to open your bank accounts, and presumably it is the Treasury which is supposed to tell you that don't open these with commercial banks, but open in central bank, because the reason why you're opening the account at the central bank is because you're supposed to then interface with IFMIS. If that is not what has happened, What do you think we as the Senate can do? I don't know whether all of you are looking at me like I'm asking something funny.
Senator Onyonka,
Yes.
maybe to ask, one, have you given us a copy of your letter requesting authority from Treasury? We would like to see a copy of that. We would like to see a copy of response of the Treasury. We would also like to see a copy of the contract with Danida to see whether everybody's trying to jump behind the Danida or behind the Treasury to be able to find out whether those contracts directly authorize the violation of Section 82. So I suggest that you give us those documents. We will further look at that. If it is necessary to discuss with Treasury, honorable members, we will have to do so because the Treasury is not above the law. So never cite and tell us because Treasury said then it is okay. The Treasury is not above the law. They are like everybody else. Then they need to respect the laws that have been passed. So we need to just look at that detail to be able to find out. And if the law says the central bank, why did the law say the central bank and not commercial banks? Why have you opted for commercial banks? Okay? We need to actually resolve
the law to the letter. And I think that there is some tidiness and some tidying that needs to be done on the issues regarding accounts that are required by our partners, the requirements of partners so that we can fulfill their requirements to be able to get funds. So I think that it is important for us to look at the law and to look at the needs. If there is anything that the development partners require us to do that is not compliant with the law, I think there is need for us to do some tidying up of that area. Otherwise, I would like to promise this committee that we would not want to do anything that is against the law. And more importantly, we would not like to do anything that is going to compromise the accountability for public funds. That is something that we should never ever do. So long as it is, if the situation warrants, we would like to be properly accountable to taxpayers' funds. And I think we have done that. When we have provided the evidences that these accounts are there, we cannot hide from that fact. Dispensaries need accounts. Sometimes they also get their own donors who give them funds, and they need somewhere to put those funds. There is also a possibility of them getting funding claims from NHIF, as is happening in some of their facilities. So they will need accounts. But the issue is, have we done it well? So we will interrogate it further and ensure that we follow the law, and we will advise Parliament ourselves from where we sit to see if there are any contradiction with between the law and the exigencies of our partners. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Mbugua.
Say that we should have gotten this report earlier because we didn't have enough time to interrogate. I would want to refer you to facility number 161 and 162. That is the same facility. An account in the same bank in Lavin and Lavin. So I'd want to know, in as much as you are telling us there is no sinister motive, why you'd operate two different accounts for the same facility. I would also want to refer you to 140.
Honorable Mbugua, can you repeat what you've just said?
They've had, Mr. Chair, they've had.
For the purposes of record.
Facility 161 and 162. Same account in the same bank. I would want you also to refer you to facility number 128 and 129. Two accounts in the same bank with the different signatories. Then there is a facility number 130 and 131. These are your records which you've just provided us. Two accounts in the same bank with different signatories. So, Governor, and then for 140 and for 141, Moroso Dispensary, same thing. So can your team explain to us what is happening? Because these are the issues we are raising. So many accounts. Why should one dispensary have 2 accounts?
Senator Mbogwa has discovered an anomaly in 161 and 162. And then, which is the other one, sir?
128 and 129.
Yeah. For 161 and 162, I'm not the accountant, but looking at, and there's an anomaly and there's an error. I think the error is the naming of the dispensary. Because when I see the names of the signatories, I know them. The signatories for the first account, the one that ends with 2022, with the 722, are Marilyn Chepkoech, Kurui, Joseph Matendechere, Amava, and Rosemary Washera. These are residents of a ward called Majimazuri Mumberes. And this must be a dispensary called Majimazuri Dispensary. I think there is an error there. I know those signatories. I also know the signatories for this other Kipkitur dispensary. The rights account for Kipkitur dispensary is the second one, 258. The one which ends with 258. They are both in Elamo Ravine, and I know the account signatures. Being a politician, I know the individuals, but I see that there's a problem. But maybe they can correct me.
Chair, it's true. Some of these facilities have 2 bank accounts, and that is what was given by the bank. And when what you realize is some of these bank accounts were opened before devolution. So our system accepts only one bank account. So I have to go and check within if Mr. So which one is active, to see which one is active. But these are facilities with 2 bank accounts, and I think we need to go and recheck and close the inactive one, at least one of them.
Honorable, I think from the onset I made a slight joke that your people are exposing you to too much cold of information. As you try to explain that you know them, they're also coming up saying that there are 2 accounts and either one of them should be closed. So it is an issue that Secretariat and honorable members, we need to focus on. It is not in good faith. And from the beginning, if you knew, and this goes to your support team, if they knew that we have facilities that have 2 accounts, they ought to have made it very clear from the onset to avoid embarrassing the employer before the country. Thank you, honorable members.
Let me take this
Honorable
opportunity,
Chute.
Chair, to have the member who is seated on the left side of the governor to introduce himself, because I know him for the last many years.
Thank you so much, Chairman.
Senator Onyonka,
yes.
When last did you visit a dispensary to be treated?
Through you, Chair, most probably last 20 years.
Okay, I want you to visualize a dispensary. From what they are presenting to us, that in a dispensary, in my own understanding, you have 8 people who are signatories to an account, because in these 2 accounts, there are 4 each. So if you're having 8 signatories in a small facility, like a dispensary, CC, is it really adding up? 8 people in a dispensary who are signatories to some accounts. I thought a dispensary has how many workers at most?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the community a chairman, a treasurer, and a water secretary. These are the main committee who run these health centers.
How many members are there in a committee?
There are 4.
There are 4.
Yes.
But here we are having 2 sets of four big signatories. So you have 2 sets of committees.
Mr. Chairman, with that what we are
Point
saying.
of correction, please. Committee members are between 7 and 9 for every facility.
Governor, your team is not organized. They are contradicting themselves in front of you, and this is why the committee is not comfortable. When you get this figure from this side and this other side, it's not looking tidy for you.
Mr. Chairman, it is the committee members are 9, but the executive committees who are elected to run the health centers are a maximum of 4.
So is it automatic that the 4 are signatories?
3 are signatories.
And what honorable member is saying is that out of the many facilities that he has mentioned, they have different signatories. And from what your colleague has said, probably some accounts have to be closed.
Yeah, and some dormant
So
accounts.
do you do audits of these accounts, the funds that go through that?
Mr. Chairman, there's a serious audit on these Danita funds. And that is why even for the last financial year, there was an audit by external auditors for Danita and to Baringo County, being the 36 counties that have now been accredited to receive additional funds for the next financial year.
Honorable Nyonka.
Thank you, CC. Public interest. Does anything stop your county from opening exclusively accounts within the central bank system? Is there anything whatsoever that stops you?
Come again.
These accounts have been opened with the Treasury writing to you where there's a memo which has made a request to you to open bank accounts for these facilities, for onward transmission of the funds.
Yes.
I understand that completely.
Yes.
But at the same time, my concern is that the Auditor General is raising this very critical point, and that's what I hoped that we didn't miss. Is there anything that stops the county government of Baringo not to open specifically county accounts which are going to, other than your wage and all these other, you understand? But for example, can we assume that if you're talking about development funds, like this money from Danida, nothing stopped you from opening an account with the central bank?
Yes, nothing stops us from doing that, sir.
Now you understand why the Auditor General and the Controller of Budget are uncomfortable with that arrangement. You understand why?
Yes.
Because it is through the IFMI system, once you've done your budgeting and the money has come and is donor funded from Danida, then that system is the one which is supposed to even pay the contractors that you're paying, isn't it? Without the money being in the IFMI system, you can then pay whichever way you want. You understand those things? That's what we are trying to cure. Help us understand how we fix this problem.
Mr. Chairman, and basically these Danita funds are almost like petty cash because they are meant to pay small expenses, operating expenses, watchmen, at the health centers. They are not material.
Sisi, let me help you. Don't go that route.
Nyonka.
I am saying through you checking as loans to the Danish Development Agency and you're calling it petty cash? You know, that's amazing. To me, this is money we have borrowed as a country, which is now been brought to Baringo. Even if this money was paying workers, what makes it so, and you call it petty cash, what makes it so casual to you not to understand that had you opened an account with the Treasury and the IFMI system and the central bank, we wouldn't be having this problem. So don't dismiss the money to this petty cash and it's small. What we are saying is the controller of budget and the Auditor General have issued this regulation not to Baringo, but all counties of the Republic of Kenya. Then we are finding in this committee that all these counties in the Republic of Kenya, they are doing exactly the opposite of what the law requires. So help us cure this problem.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chair.
Chair, let me just wait. Chair, let me just.
Welcome, Governor.
I just wanted to clarify on how the Danida funds come. The Danida funds are disbursed to counties through Treasury, National Treasury, and they are sent directly to the County Revenue Fund account. Once they have reached the County Revenue Fund account, the instructions are from the donor that the County Revenue Fund account will send the money directly from County Revenue Fund account, which is operated in the central bank, to County Danida Primary Healthcare Special Purpose account. So we open a special purpose account in the county, in CBK, I'm sorry, for ring fencing, so that it is not used for any other purpose other than the hospitals, dispensaries that they are supposed to. And subsequently, they are sent to health facilities in the shortest time possible. And there's an instruction from our Council of Governors based on communication between the Council of Governors and the donor. So indeed, this money are not going directly to the health facilities. It comes to our county revenue account. And then from the county revenue account, it goes to the project account within the county. And that is why it was necessary for us to open the facilities so that they go directly, they say within the shortest time possible, to the health facilities. And in fact, there was a requirement that we send the bank statements confirming the transfers to the Ernest & Young auditors for verification, which is the auditors that have been appointed by Danida. I'm trying to say that there is nothing sinister about opening those accounts.
Thank you, Chair.
Yeah.
Governor, there's nothing sinister. You notice that there is something we are trying to do. So let me help you and tell you what we are trying to do. I, for one, believe that our systems are broken. I, for one, will stand here and ask my chair to make a recommendation that I want somebody from the Treasury and I want somebody from the IFMIS to come and sit here for them to explain to me why they would take donor-funded resources which are available with them at the Treasury, which is supposed to be the domicile place where IFMIS system is. They take this money, go out and leave the IFMIS system. They bring it to Baringo, to CRF. CRF, then they give you instructions, you spend the money, and yet the IFMIS system is supposed to be the last line of defense of protecting public resources. So for me, you've answered my question. Why is it that all governors in the Republic of Kenya, unless few exceptions, have opened accounts within commercial banks when the law says they should be opened at the central bank? Doesn't that raise a red flag to all of you?
Yes. Honorable Nyonka, can I ask His Excellency the Governor?
Thank you.
Is that they are opening accounts in commercial banks or commercial accounts because it's commercial money? Easy to get, easy to use.
Bungoma and Chairman, I would like to say this, that it is good to go according to the law. And I agree with Senator Onyonka that Treasury and IFMIS need to help us in this. If there is a challenge in the law, then perhaps that is something that needs to be cured. We are not supposed to open commercial bank accounts, and there is nothing called commercial money. This is public money, and public money must be accounted for publicly. And the way that the law envisages is that the money must be, it comes from the public through KRA to Treasury and Central Bank, and now once it's budgeted for, it must come from the Treasury to us through the legal means that has been provided. And that is the CRF, where the controller of budget now becomes the oversight person to ensure that this money goes to the right place. So to me, I think there's something that must be tidied in that area. How we relate donor funds and instructions from the donor, at the same time instructions from the National Treasury, they should be seamless. And it should not look like there are any competing authorities in this matter.
Chair.
Honorable Chuta?
Yes. Last week, Chair, we had Kwale County before this committee. And the documents they brought was huge and explanatory. And the CEO, Finance, explained the process very well. Governor, I want to really ask you, when you open a commercial account, you're supposed to write a letter to the Treasury and get express permission to do so. In the Kwale documents, there were correspondences between the county and the Treasury, allowing them to open those accounts. That is number one. In your documents here, I don't find any correspondence between the county government and the Treasury, and the express permission from the Treasury to open those accounts. Number one. Number two, Governor, we have got 9 counties with accounts from 4 to 10. Garissa is 4, has 4 accounts. Kitui had 5. Vihiga, 5. Nandi County, 7. Elgeyo Marakwet, Lamu, and Nyeri, 10, 9 each. And then Kilifi and Siaya, 10. And most of the counties are 15, 20, 12, 13. And 4 counties, amongst them yours, which has 304 bank accounts. I want to ask you, why should your county, Baringo County, have 304 accounts and Garissa County has only 4? Then you need to ask yourself, there must be something very wrong. And tell this committee, correspondences are not there, number one. If they are there, tell us they are there, and when are you going to provide? And tell us why you should have 304. Others have 4. Thank you very much, Chair.
And the reason why we have the large number of accounts, basically because we have a large number of dispensaries that we have to disburse funds from Danida through them. I'm not saying that the other counties are not having disbursing funds through from Danida. I would like to find out from those counties or from the counties that have got large number of dispensaries, how they disburse the Danida funds to the various dispensaries, because we have got express instructions, like I have read in this letter that I have here. Having said that, I would like to ask my CC Finance to tell us if there is correspondence between his office and the National Treasury on the opening accounts or not. And if so, can they avail it to this committee as soon as possible?
Thank you. Through you, Excellency, the Chair. Most of those accounts, particularly for the health centers, Mr. Chairman, were opened historically, even before devolution 2011. And what we've been doing is validating the same accounts when there are changes in the management committees. But for us, when an account like a dollar account is to be opened, we had to seek for approval from the National Treasury to open. That is one that I can recall very easily. We sought for approval from National Treasury to open the same, and we obtained an approval. We are ready to forward that sample of the approvals that we have received.
Honorable Chute, my friend, you just said you have been validating. What is the meaning of validation?
Mr. Chairman, whenever there are changes in the management committees of these health centers, whenever there are elections and there are new executive officials, we validate the change of signatories.
But have you followed the law in a validation process? Because you've now seen you ought to have sought concurrence to ensure the accounts are within the confines of the law. So you did not validate.
Chair,
Okay.
Chair,
Honorable Chute.
I want to make one request here. I want to, the Secretariat, if they have a document from Kwale around here, if you have, I wanted the Governor to look at that document. And the presentation here, what he has provided here, I don't think this is satisfactory. And I would want to ask the Chair if this meeting can be postponed to another date so that they can prepare themselves well and come with a document that can be acceptable to not only this committee, to the full House of the Senate. Because this is, I will tell you, this is embarrassing. What I've seen here and the two committees who came before us, that's completely, you know, the law is very clear. It says you need to get express permission from any account you've opened. Our CC is saying here that they inherited some historical things, and that can be historically wrong. You cannot continue doing the wrong things because somebody has already done these things. So I think, Chair, if we can give the Governor another date to come and prepare themselves well, this is not something we can rely on. Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Mbogo.
When they are preparing, I would also want them to tell this committee why they have not complied with Section 168(3) of the Public Finance Management Act of 2022, which clearly states that not later than 15 days after the end of each quarter, the administrator of a county public fund shall submit the quarterly report to the county treasury and a copy to the control of budget. From the reports we have, you didn't comply. We would want to know why.
We have been submitting two sets of report. One report because there's a specific report to the controller budget which he wants, the controller wants a report in a specific format which we've been submitting. The county executive report, expenditure report or quarterly report together with funds on quarterly basis. Maybe only for the funds, so through the chair, I know we were late in submitting quarter 1 reports, fund reports, because most of these funds were nil. Okay, there was now, it was zero expenditure of the quarter, but from quarter 2 and so forth, we've been submitting by 15th of the next month. It's now that today is the fourth quarter we were late in submitting the executive report, but we submitted the funds report on time.
Now, because we have a report from the control budget.
It is true that what we have seen is not what honorable members expected. Having a very, very experienced governor, it is through you that we got our help when we were comrades. And you know, the comrade is always right. So, Honorable Governor, your members have let you down. The documentation aspect is not deep, it's not wide. Their presentation is shanty. But because we have so much to do, will not want to crucify you with your people. We'll give you some grace to put your team to do a good document.
Chair, can I intervene, please?
Okay,
Intervention.
proceed.
You know, I asked the governor I asked the chair to postpone this meeting. I want to withdraw that statement now. Looking at what they were asked to do, the governor for Kwale brought extra things. And I think we can now allow to the CC to respond to documents, the correspondences between the Treasury and himself. That one I think is fine. He can just send those ones. We can finish the meeting and conclude today. I want to withdraw that statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Chute.
That can be able to clear the air surrounding the questions that we are asking will not be able to, it will not be fair to call you back here over the same. So I think that matter has been put to rest. Unless there's any other question, honorable members, to the team from Baringo.
Yes, I think ask the CEC Finance, who is a banker for many years. I wanted to know if there is a possibility that you can have accounts under the dispensaries and all these things, but then you have about 5 accounts, major accounts, then you can say same account number for this dispensary, another account, same account number for several dispensaries, so that you can manage the whole system within your capacity. Instead of relying on 304 units, you can have a few, about 20 or 15 or up to 30, let's say, for example. If you can manage that, I think would be the best thing for you to do. Think of that. And also, I think the governor, you can talk to your friend in Garissa, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kilifi, and ask them how they are doing it, so that you can have a minimal account that you can easily manage. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. This team have adversely mentioned that there is no contact between them and the control of budget. The control of budget wrote to us about what we have taken them through. Moving forward after this session, I'll recommend that the controller be brought here for someone to come, so that there must be seamless communication and engagement between the governors and the control of budget, to avert such scenarios where we put you to task on things that can be handled way before you are called here. So having no other matter to discuss, I want to thank you, Honorable Governor, for coming, leading your troop. And I want to give you an opportunity to give us your closing remarks on behalf of.
Thank you very much. Let me just take this opportunity to appreciate this committee and Senate for the work you are doing. You are doing the right thing to safeguard counties and the interests of counties and the interests of the taxpayer. On our part, I do promise that I will put my team on toes to ensure that we continuously comply with the law, especially in matters finances. Because without accounting for the taxpayers' money, then we will not be doing the right thing for the people of Baringo County. As for now, we shall go back and look at anything that is not, that you have raised, everything that you have raised that has not been answered to your satisfaction, particularly on the communication between our Treasury and the National Treasury, and our Treasury and control of budget, so that we can be on the same page. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor.
Can I say something? Chair?
Yes, Honorable Chute.
Yeah, I just remind the Governor on Regulation 82(1)B of PFM Regulations 2015 provides that all county government bank accounts shall be opened at the Central Bank of Kenya, except for imprest, you understand, imprest bank accounts for petty cash. So I think the CEC, you can manage a small account that you can also be checking on a regular basis I think that is very important for even the county itself. Thank you very much. I think, Chair, if you can now take over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor.